of andthegrand.com. Thanks for joining us again for another virtual event with Embrilliance. Today we're exploring the world of digitizing with the StitchArtist series. Being able to digitize means you can bring your own designs to life. I especially think digitizing is a great skill to learn for the holidays so that you can create some special gifts for your loved ones. Now, on top of a wonderful presentation, we'll be offering exclusive promotions that are only available on our website until Sunday. With any purchase, you'll receive 50 free designs from andthegrand.com, 10 free Embrilliance fonts, pre-recorded educational content, as well as 10% off any Embrilliance product. To redeem your discount, please use the code ARTIST10 at checkout. Now, after you purchase your software, it'll take up to 24 hours for you to receive your free goodies, and that'll be sent straight to your email address. In case you miss anything during the presentation, the replay will be available up until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you have any questions, please feel free to hop into our live chat, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Now, I'm so excited to welcome Debbie Cleek of Embrilliance, who will be teaching us more about the StitchArtist series.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
I'm really excited to be here. As you can tell, I'm speaking over Megan.
We're so happy to have you back and are excited to learn more about the different StitchArtist programs.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to giving everyone a nice overview of all the powerful features and functions that are included in StitchArtist levels 1, 2, and 3. We're going to cover all three of those. We're going to cover the features and functions in an overview format of all three of these powerful digitizing programs.
Wonderful. And then maybe later down the road, we'll be able to do a more in-depth deep dive about each level.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. And I look forward to that as well.
Perfect. Well, I'll hand it off to you, and we're excited to learn some more today.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is our StitchArtist screen. As you'll see down here in the tool pane, this is your StitchArtist tools. You get those tools by clicking on the Create button here in the toolbar. So we'll start from left to right. The first tool we'll talk about briefly is the Image tool, and that's the tool that you use to bring in images onto your design page. I'm just going to grab an image here and click OK. And there you have an image on your design page. The next tool here that we talk about is TrueType Art. That button, when you click on that, will open up all the TrueType fonts that you have installed on your computer. And that gives you access to, virtually unlimited fonts. I'm just scrolling through these real quick. Oh my goodness, this is a split monogram, which is still really popular right now. But look at all those fonts that I have, and a lot of these were preloaded onto my computer now. I've added to those, which is the beauty of using TrueType fonts. You can add to those, which is kind of fun. You'll see I had some specialty ones in there, some state frames and things like that. So that would be how you would create your text in StitchArtist, and that is the same in StitchArtist level 1, 2, and 3. And now is also a good time to tell you that what you see in level 1 is also carried over to level 2. So when we move over to level 2, we're just going to cover what's installed or added in level 2. Sorry about that confusion. The next tool would be the show or hide your background image. Let's see if I can undo this. Here's my background image. If I want to hide that, I have a show or hide background image button. And then I also have a show or hide stitches. Let's come over here to our draw section and use our draw with points tool. And draw real quick some stitches. And this is your show or hide stitches. See, now you can see the stitch. Let's change it to a satin border and hide our stitches and show our stitches. Okay, our draw with points tool can be used to draw the straight line as you see here. It can also be used to draw with the curve by holding down the Shift key. So let's pick up that tool once again, hold down my Shift key, and you notice now my little nodes are circles as opposed to squares. I'm sorry, hold down your Control key, and you'll notice your nodes are circles as opposed to squares. Holding down and right click when you're done. Holding down your Shift key gives you circular nodes that you can then adjust your curve and cusp and things like that. So your Shift key gives you one kind of curve, your Control key gives you full-blown drawing with curve. Let's get a new page and draw a little bit with the freeform drawing or freehand. We'll click on that. And that allows you to draw freeform. But you see all those nodes there? Wherever you have a node, your needle has to make a hard drop. So this would require quite a bit of digitizing before it's ready to go to the machine. That's why we always recommend, if you're using the Draw Freehand tool, use it sparingly and practice a couple of times before you do it to make sure you have a nice fluid movement. The more fluid your movement, the less nodes you'll have. See that right there already has less nodes than the first one because it was a little bit more fluid and quicker. Okay, I'm going to get another new tool. We'll go through quite a few pages as we're going through this, so don't be alarmed. The next tool is drawing a 3-point circle or an arc. I'm going to click on that tool, and for that I'm going to click here and draw it up. Let's delete that. I right clicked when I should have. I clicked when I should have clacked. There we go. There's our arc. Now you see I still have that tool there, so I can click and make more arcs if I wanted to apply a running stitch to that and make like a stippling. That would be fun, but make sure you're showing your stitches. There we go. Okay, we'll get another new page. The next tool is the automatic closed shape tool. So let's go back here to where we drew our first. And let's select this tool here. And let's click on our open close shape. And you notice how it automatically closed that shape? You see that? Now I can also open that shape. And I can close it again. There we go. Okay, so remember you've got an open and close shape tool as well. You also have a magic wand. Now, this magic wand I won't show you. I don't have anything to I don't have any artwork to magic wand with, but I will explain it to you. The magic wand that comes with this is called a shape magic wand. And it will give you the outline of the shape that's selected. So when you have, well, maybe I will. Let's see. Let's go here to page 4. Let's go to image. show our shape. Okay, now I'm going to use my shape magic wand, and it is going to look at the different colors and try to give me a shape based on, but this actually is my desktop, so it's got a bunch of different wood grain colors, so you're not getting a clean outline. But imagine if you had some nice, clean, crisp artwork. What a lovely job that would do, giving you an outline with just a single click of the mouse. Let's get a new design page. This one here, your line edits as a spline with handles, or with a spline with no handles, or a bezier with handles. So let's draw some lines with curve, and it's my closed shape line. My closed shape tool is turned on, so I've got a nice closed shape. That's a better shape to work with, so to see. And you see these handles here? With the Bezier, these are my Bezier handles, and they allow me to adjust my curve without adding any nodes. Now, if I turn that on or off, if I turn off the Bezier handles, then you don't have the handles to adjust by. And the only way then to adjust this shape is by adding additional nodes. Now, remember what I said earlier, wherever you have a node, that needle needs to make a hard drop. So the fewer nodes, the smoother your overall artwork will be, and the smoother your overall stitching will be. Okay, now that we have a shape on the design page, let's add a hole to that shape. And I'm just going to come up here and draw a circle with my automatic Okay, now I'm going to hold down my shift key and select both of these. And then I am going to right mouse click on, hold down my shift key, select both of these. Select both of these, right mouse click, combine with hole, and now I can fill that with some fill stitch, and you see I have a hole in my area where there will be no stitches. I don't know why that section always gives me a hard time. It's create your area, add your hole, select both areas, and then right mouse click and select combine with hole. It's a very simple process. I don't know why that process always gives me a knuckle. I bet you all have areas in your digitizing or embroidery that always give you a hard time as well. So I don't think I'm alone in that. Now, the next tool we're going to talk about is the automatic shape drawing tool. I can draw a rectangle, a circle, a polygon, a spiral, or a star. And the beauty of that is, let's just draw a polygon real quick. And actually it's a 6-sided, so what would that be? And it's filled. Let's turn the, well, instead of turn the fill off, let's just change the color. Now if I come over here to my Shapes tab, I can adjust the number of sides I have on my Shapes tab. So if I wanted to make some tessellating designs, it's very easy to do with these quick and easy to make shapes. Now I can tell right now some of you are looking at this and wondering why this line is in the middle of this. That's because if you look at this, my start and stop points are basically in the same place. If I take one, let's take my stop point and put it down here at the bottom. Let's take my start point and put it up here at the top. And you see that section is gone. Okay, who's ready to look at stitches? I know I am. We've covered the image part of the drawbar. We've covered the draw part of the drawbar or tool pane. Now let's cover the stitch part. And let's start real quick with the shape we already have drawn and talk about the fill stitches. With the fill stitches, when you click on your fill tab, you have a pattern option here where you have a number of different patterns you can select from. That's the basket weave. My personal favorite that shows really well is the waves. So this is a quick and easy way to add texture to a design without having to spend a lot of time and be able to give an overall pattern to your design by changing to a different fill stitch. Say you were making a boat and you wanted to put a little rectangle at the bottom and have some little waves in there. You can rotate this pattern as well, or rotate the shape. Either way, it's rotatable. Alrighty, the next one let's talk about, let's get a new page and let's come back over here. You notice I keep going back to my draw with points, and I'm just going to draw a shape, and we're going to go to the run tool. And with the run, I have a single run, a double run, a bean stitch. And with your bean stitch, you have a 3, 5, 7, or 9 pass, which means if you want to make some of those big floss looking designs, you can with your 9 pass. Just remember to lengthen your stitch, otherwise you're going to have all that thread bunched up in a short stitch length. So you want to lengthen your stitch to at least 4 millimeters or higher is what it says in the note here. See, we give you handy notes to make sure that you don't run into a knuckle like I did. Okay, after the bean stitch, we have a chain stitch. Let's zoom in on that so you can see what that looks like. We have a back stitch, a stem stitch, and finally a faux sashiko stitch. This is designed to look like a sashiko stitch. Okay, from there we'll select that design, that line, and move over to the satin border. We'll zoom in a little bit, but not quite so much. What I like about the satin border is you can apply texture by applying a pattern to your satin border as well. If I made this stitch width wide, let's make it 5 millimeters wide. Then I can apply waves to that. Let's zoom in on that so we can see. Let's go back to our regular tatami. You can also feather your edge, make it a 3-pass whip or a 5-pass whip. You can also make it a split stitch if I wanted to make this a 3-column split. There, see, that can give you an interesting look, kind of gives you a ribbon look. Okay, let's get one more new page. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get a shape. I'm going to bring in a circle. We're going to talk about applique. With applique, I can make a one-click applique, and then I have the option of selecting from the E-stitch, the blanket, the satin, the zigzag, or none if I wanted to do some raw edge applique. So you have several options there. You can also do a fabric preview. You can do a position as well as material placement stitches as well. So a 2 or a 3-step applique. Okay, so that is your applique. Now, if I wanted to, say I wanted to leave off my top stitch, make it none, then I could copy this and paste it. Then I can come over here to my motif run and put that around my applique. Let's zoom in on this so we can see it a little bit better. Okay, now with that, I can also add, let's go to decorative. I can adjust the size of that particular one. I can go to motif and add a different one. I can add as many different motifs as I would like to get just the look I'm looking for. Okay, so that is your motif fill, or your motif run, I'm sorry. That is the motif run. Right below it is the motif fill. And we'll talk about that one in just a few minutes. We'll work our way over to that one in just a few minutes. The cross stitch area. Let's get a new page. I'm going to hold down my control key and draw. Close my shape. And I'm going to fill this with cross stitch. And then I'm going to come in here and use my draw with points tool again, holding down my control key, making a curve shape. Close my shape again. Let's adjust this a little bit here. Let's see if my Bezier handles are on. Yes, they are, so I can So I can adjust my Bezier handles. And let's change the color of that. And let's zoom in so you can really see how those X's all work off the same grid. So if you were trying to make a design to mimic the look of counted cross stitch, it's very easy to do that with the design when it looks like it works off the same grid, so you can draw all your areas. And you can see, if you look right here, you can see how those X's match up. Okay, now we've talked about the fill stitch already. Let's talk about the satin column. There we have it. You see you have a satin stitch that contours all the way around the shape of the object. That is your satin column. Stipple area will fill that area with stippling, and there are drunkard, curvy, leafy, and geometric stippling styles. Oh, now we're to motif fill. Let's delete one of these objects so it doesn't get confusing. With motif fill, it works similar to the motif outline, only I am filling a shape with the motif. So I can come up here, I can select my first motif, and I have the arrows. Click on plus, go to larger. Let's scroll down. That's interesting. Let's add one more. Let's zoom in. Let's add some space between those. And let's make this one a little larger. Actually, let's delete this one. And let's select a different one. There we go. So it's that easy to work with the motif fills. Let's get one more new page. One more new page. And now let's talk about freestanding or quilted fill. Everybody likes to make freestanding lace. And with StitchArtist level 1, it's very easy. Let's come over here and use our quick shapes. Let's make an oval. And now it's filled with freestanding lace. Let's change the color. With lace, here it is. Here's my density. Here's my stitch length. Here's my pattern, freestanding double. Or if I wanted to make it single, which is not freestanding, I can then adjust my density. And I could use that for some in the hoop column quilting. Kind of like echo quilting. I can also switch it to a diamond pattern. Go to freestanding lace. And then put your design or your swirls or whatever you want on top of that. And then when you rinse it, you'll actually have like some making your own fabric. You'll have a lace piece that you can attach on something else. Okay? So let's see, we touched on in this session, we did an overview of the image tools. We did an overview of the drawing tools. And then finally, we've just finished up with the overview of the stitch tools. Now we're going to move on to level 2 and go over those tools and do an overview of those as well. So those of you joining us a little bit late, we've just finished our overview of our level 1 tools, and we're going to start with our overview of our level 2 tools. So I'm going to click on my create button. That's going to give me, since I have a special version, that's going to give me the level 2 tools, and I'm going to close some of these design pages. So we don't get confused when covering the level 2. Let's get a new design page. Let's go to level 2. Okay, you'll see right away we have a new button. We can bring in vector art. Vector art. So that means SVG. Well, let's see. Let's go back here. That means I can bring in SVG, FCM, Studio, Studio 3, SCut 4, EMF, WMF, and AI. So SVG is the most common. Scalable vector graphic is the most commonly used, I think, in today's graphic arts world. So that's probably the most easily found artwork to use for digitizing. But a lot of these, like the FCM, the Studio, the SCut 4, those are for the Brother Scan and Cut, the Silhouette, and the Cricut. And then these EMF and WMF are just some commonly used graphic formats. And I think AI, that's Adobe Illustrator. That would probably be your last resort if you were looking for some artwork to bring in, only because it's very version specific. And I don't know how current a version of AI we currently bring in. But that is one of the things that is added with level 2 is the ability to bring in vector art. You also have here sequence objects by selecting them one at a time. So let's put some objects onto my design page so we can show this. I'm just going to do a square and fill it with some color. Let's do a circle. Let's fill it with a different color. Let's come over here and do a polygon. And to keep from being confused, let's reduce the number of sides down to 6. Let's change the color of that one as well. And one last, we'll make a star. Change the color of that one. I want each of these to have a different color. Okay, so now you see here in my object tree, I have green, brown, orange, or red, and blue. green, tan, red, and blue. So what if I want these to be tan, red, blue, and green? So I'll come over here and select my sequence objects by selecting them on my design page. Green, and it will adjust the sewing order. So let's go back and do that again. Green, orange, tan, and blue. Green, orange, tan, and blue. Just by selecting on the design page my sewing order. So there are times that can be so much simpler to do it that way. What else is added? The ability to draw with the Bezier. Let's get a new design page so we can talk about that one. Before you could draw with the curve, now I can draw with the Bezier, which means I have the handles that allow me to click and drag and create my curve as I go, making a nice S curve. Right click when I'm finished. That is the Draw with Bezier. The next tool that is added is Draw a column with left and right alternating input. This is great for making, well, let's just show you. Making a satin column go around a curve. And then I can come over here and select these. And edit them. These are my inclination lines, and that has been added that I can add inclination lines. So if I wanted to take these off, I can add, let's see, let's take this one off too. And let's add one right here in the center to make that transition a little smoother. These inclination lines are fully editable, which means I can edit them and move them around and adjust them however I want, or I can also add additional ones. Right click when I'm done, then I can edit the ones that are there. Let's zoom in on this and see what we got. Not too bad the way it goes around that curve. The next tool that's new in level 2 is the draw a column by making two sides. So that is good. It's right now it's jack-o'-lantern season. So it is a lot of fun to use that tool. I draw my top, then I right click and I draw my bottom, then I right click and it connects these two together. And now I have my inclination, so I can draw my inclinations, because with level 2, what was added? That's right, the ability to add inclination lines. So I can add my inclinations here, right click, and there it's finished. Okay, let's get another new page. Now that, I believe, is all that has been added in the drawbar in level 2. Remember the draw with Bezier, draw a column with left and right alternating input, and the make a column with 2 sides, and the ability to add inclinations. Okay, now over here in the drawbar, you have the ability to draw with motifs such as French knots and candle wicks. Let's select candle wick. I can make these larger. I can make the end size smaller. I can adjust the gap between them. Or I can make them all the same size, and I can also switch to French knots. Let's make the French knots a little larger so you can see them. Okay. That is the French knot and candle wick you can draw with. The next one is contour fill area. So let's just delete that page. Let's come over here and grab the star. Let's fill it with some contour fill. Let's go to our contour tab. Let's make it gradient. And let's not skip the shape. See how it's far apart in the middle and it gets a little bit closer on the outside? We can reverse that. Maybe not quite so much. There we go. This slide bar here adjusts the offset, the spacing between each one of them. So each level of stitching, I have an offset, and that will adjust the distance between each row of stitching. I can echo outline inward, interior clipped, or outward. So if I want to do some echo quilting, I could just echo that outline outward. And there I have some quick and easy echo quilting if I were doing some quilt blocks in the hoop. Okay? What do you think of that? I think that's a pretty groovy feature. I really like the echo quilting option. And I believe if I select each one of these rows of stitching, convert to curve. No, it's not what I want. But you can make each of these, just in case one of you were wondering, because I know someone out there was wondering if you can make each of these a different stitch. And yes, you can. That is a possibility. I would show you, but I've got to hurry off to show StitchArtist level 3. So let's click on the little icon here. This is StitchArtist level 3, and you'll see a whole lot has changed. A lot I'm just going to explain to you because there's not a whole lot to see with this. In your image window, image bar, you still have your show or hide background image, your show or hide stitches. You still have your sequence objects by selecting them on the design page. and you still have the continuous view mode, which gives you an overview of what things might look like if you wanted to repeat them on your design page. It doesn't copy and paste them. It doesn't stay there to give you a preview so you can put them there. It just gives you a quick little overview, and then you can decide whether or not you want to copy and paste and try and align things up using the other tools in the program. This tool here is kind of fun. This is the default drawing with line or with curve. Now, with all the other versions of StitchArtist, you notice I was drawing with a straight line because I wasn't holding my control key. Now with this one, I can draw with the curve and not have to hold the control key. This allows auto scroll. So if I wanted to come on. If I wanted to scroll off the page or through the area, auto scroll allows you to do that. And I can't for the life of me let you know why this is not working for whatever reason. It's just not working for me today. Another knuckle. Because it should scroll through the design page. Like that. Okay, see how that auto scrolls? I guess it just needed to be zoomed in. Now, there will be times when you're going to be working on something very detailed and you're not going to want to generate your stitches right away. And that's what these next two buttons are. They're generate stitches now, and then delay the generation of stitches. Because if you notice, as I've been drawing, I have been drawing and stitches generate immediately. There might be some times when you don't want that to happen. So then you just delay your generation and then select generate now. Let's get another quick shape. Let's get a circle. And let's go to the stitch bar and talk about what's new there. There's only one stitch new there, but it's been getting a lot of attention lately, and that is the marrowing stitch. What that does is it gives you a nice mock marrow stitch that does go around and cover part of the back of your design. It sends a little bit of extra thread to that stitch, so you get a more wrapped edge than you do a satin stitch. It's a lovely, 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 beautiful stitch, especially if you're into making patches. You can trim around the outside. You can stitch on water-soluble stabilizer and rinse them. You have a number of options that you can use this stitch for. It's a fabulous stitch. Next, in level 3, the big thing that's been added are all of the pathing options here. Let's go through some of them. I'm going to get a new design page. I'm going to bring in a piece of true type art. Let's make this larger. Okay, first tool is to add a break line to a closed shape. If you do not have a closed shape, this tool will not be selectable. So I have a closed shape here, so I can add a break line to this closed shape. There we go. Right click when I'm done. Now what I'm going to do is cut the object at the break line. So now you see I have a top and a bottom. If I wanted to put Halloween or the Hendersons or whatever I want in there and fill this or make this applique. There we go. Those are your first tools in the pathing toolbar. The next one is the and to recreate objects where they are overlapped. Let's get a couple circles for that. Copy, paste. Let's change the color. Let's select all. Over here in our object tree, we'll select all. And now we'll select that and you see what it's given me? It's given me both circles and also an object where those two circles were overlapped. So I have 3 objects here. So that's really good if you're wanting to do some shading or something like that of overlapped areas. That works out really, really nice. I'm going to copy and paste the 2 circles onto a new design page. And then we're going to talk about the union. What that gives me is an outline that encompasses everything on my design page, all my objects on my design page. So right now I have the 2 circles. Select all and go to union. And now see it's given me an outline that encompasses all 3 areas on my design page. Okay. Let's get a new page. Let's paste those circles again. Let's move them closer to the center and zoom in just a tiny bit. This one will subtract whatever is there. So it's taken the whatever's on the bottom, it will remove the overlap on the top. So that is great when you're digitizing designs and you want to know how you remove those overlapping stitches. You use this tool to remove the overlapping design, and that way you don't have to worry about removing the overlapping stitches. Okay, let's get a new design page. Let's paste those circles again. This time let's go to flatten. And this does the same thing, but it keeps both objects on the design page. So there again, it's just another tool. If I want to remove my hidden stitches from my design, it's easier to remove the artwork oftentimes than to remove the hidden stitches down the road. Okay, one more design page. Now we're going to create an outline from stitches on the design page. I'm going to go to my fonts because I have several. I have all the programs here, so I have several built in. I am looking for LMNO. I don't see it here for some whatever reason. Let's pick Merrily Boney. Let's click on View and turn my hoop off so it doesn't get confusing. Let's go back to our level 3 toolbar. Let's select my text. We're going to create an outline from stitches on the page. And then we're going to select that outline and we're going to right-click Copy, right-click Paste. And then I'm going to apply a run stitch to that. And I'm going to change the color to Shocking Pink. And then I'm going to take this other outline here, select all 3 of those, and then I'm going to inflate that object. So let's move my inflate button over. I'm going to remove the holes, soften my corners, click OK. And union, and then I can take these 3 oh, and it didn't delete all of my holes, so I can come in through here, separate my hole, delete it, come up here, right click, separate my hole, and then I can take this and I can apply an applique, and there we go. Now remember, if there are any questions during the live presentation of this, you have the scroll bar on the right of the panel, on the right of the screen, that you can type in your questions, so you're more than happy to address them during the process of the screening of this video. Thank you so much for all of your time. I hope you found this useful. Remember, it is just an overview of what's offered, all the features and functions that are offered in StitchArtist levels 1, 2, and 3. And I thank you very much for you guys giving me your time.
Thank you so much, Debbie. Really appreciate you coming out and teaching us, a little bit about each level. Also, I had a question for you. If I have level 1 for StitchArtist, would I need to purchase level 2 and level 3, or are there upgrade options for that?
There are upgrade options. If you have level 1, you can go right to level 2 with an upgrade, or you can have, if you have level 1, you can go right to level 3 and upgrade just right from 1 to level 3 with an upgrade.
Perfect. That's good to know. Yeah, you can see all our products right under this video, and you can add them directly to your cart when you're purchasing. And just as a reminder, up until Sunday evening, we're offering with any purchase of any Embrilliance product 50 free designs from andthegrand.com, 10 free Embrilliance fonts, pre-recorded educational content, and then also 10% off the Embrilliance products. Make sure you use the code ARTIST10 at checkout. And thank you so much again, Debbie. We really appreciate you talking through the levels of Stitch Artist.
You're welcome. It was my pleasure to be able to join everyone.
All right, talk to you